Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Frederick Edward Fabella and I'm here to discuss today behavioral management techniques for children. All right, okay, so let's begin. So, how do we give rules to children? So, let's think about that for a moment. Is our technique effective or not? So, let's find out what's the proper way to give rules to children. Okay, so keep rules simple and easy to understand. So in order for you to facilitate the understanding, you have to discuss the rules with your children, maybe even write them down so that they are reminded. And consider the children's suggestions about the rules. Maybe you can get some feedback about the rules that you are trying to set. Okay? Repeat the rules often because sometimes kids, when they don't hear or are reminded about the rules, they forget, or maybe the rule is no longer applicable. All right? Okay. So, a few rules that work well with children include the following examples: help each other, take care of our toys, say please and thank you. So let's now think about this. How do we give in children instructions? All right. So let's find out what are the effective ways of giving instructions to children. So say what you mean. Okay. Use do instead of don't whenever possible. Choose your words carefully, especially when you are guiding children's behavior. Keep sentences short and simple so that they are easily remembered and understood. Focus on what to do rather than what not to do. Okay? So these are some examples. If you want your child to stop running, don't say stop running. Instead, say slow down and walk. So they are better able to understand the do rather than the don't. Okay? Another example, if you want the child to avoid touching things around, especially when you are in a store, tell the child to come hold my hand. All right. Another example, instead of telling the child don't climb on the table, if that's what you want the child to avoid doing, you tell the child to keep his or her feet on the floor instead. All right. So another example, if you don't want your child to keep on shouting, tell the child to use a quiet voice instead. Okay. So how do we speak to children? Okay, so let's find out what's the proper way of speaking to children. Speak with children instead of at them. Okay. Children often don't pay attention when you're talking or shouting at them. So instead of doing that, you can speak with them or to them, all right? Guidance is much more effective when you talk to children at their eye level. So look at the image there. The mother is at eye level with the daughter, all right? Look at them in the eyes, touch them on the shoulder, and talk with them, okay? Resist the urge to simply lecture. Sometimes we give long lectures and the children just want the lecture to end, but they're not really listening. Okay? Instead, give children time to respond and listen to their points of view. Okay, so it becomes a dialogue that way. Is setting examples for children important? Yes, it is. So set a good example. Children watch you all the time. Okay, so if you look at the quote there, children hear everything you say and they mimic everything you do. So give them a good example. They see how you talk to other children and how you talk to each other as adults. Okay, and they watch and they remember. They see how you cope with anger or frustration. They watch how you deal with sadness and joy. And sometimes they copy how we react. The way you handle the ups and downs of life teaches children a lot about how to behave and get along with others, right? So if you react that way, like the woman in the picture, the children will also do the same. Okay. Encourage children to set a good example for each other too. So this is also very effective. Children also learn a great deal from each other. Encourage appropriate ways to share, play, and be kind to each other. Okay? So teach them to set a good example of sharing so that other children will also do the same. The same thing with trading toys when they take turns with the toy that they want to play with. And when they are using something like a slide, they have to learn how to wait for their turn. So, children who practice taking turns will, in turn, uh, be a good example to others. All right. So, how do we give children choices? Okay. So, this is a good thing to learn because children would like to exercise some independence, giving them freedom to have a choice or a say in what they will do. So give clear and simple choices. Okay, toddlers can choose between a red cup and a green cup. Preschoolers can choose between playing airport and zookeeper. Okay, give children a choice only when there is a choice. Okay, so here, if you say it is nap time, do you want to lie down? That's not really a choice. Okay, because it really is nap time. So how do we teach children to show respect? Okay, so this is very important. So show respect for children. You yourself as an adult should respect children so that they will learn to do the same. Okay? Talk to children about misbehavior in private rather than in front of others so that they are not embarrassed. Remind them of reasons for rules and discuss what they can do differently because sometimes you just want them to follow without them understanding why. So they need to also understand that it's also for them. So, how do we promote good behavior among children? Let's find out. So, teach children how to be good. All children want attention. So, praise them when they are doing what you want them to do. All right? It is better to give them positive attention for good behavior than negative attention for misbehavior. So if you see children who are doing something that you appreciate, uh, call attention to that behavior of the child whose behavior you are appreciating instead of noticing the bad or the misbehavior of the children that you want uh, to for them to stop doing what they're doing. All right. Comment on something positive about each child several times a day. All right. When children have done something positive, mention it to other children and to parents so that they become a good example. And maybe other children will want to be praised as well. Okay. So encourage like a good coach. A good coach tells you what you're doing right, uses praises as a teaching tool, and lets you know why he or she is proud of you. Okay? So, for example, if you have a child whom you are expecting to set the table, you can say, "You did such a good job setting the table. You put the spoons and forks in the right place and remembered the napkins." Okay, so you look for something that you want to praise in the child's behavior there, right? Okay, how about this example about artwork? When you look at a child's painting, you might remark, "This painting just glows with color. You used blue, green, yellow. red and orange. Tell me how you did this. Okay, even though the colors may not be appropriate for the objects that they are coloring, that's fine. All right. How do we teach children social skills? Okay, so play activities can teach children social skills, especially when they play with each other. Hey, so become a character in children's pretend play and show children how to use good manners and be kind. So you have to join the children in their playtime. Okay, so if you look at the picture there, there are a number of examples there where children are pretending to be a doctor, a scientist, an astronaut, a police officer, a fireman, a carpenter, and so on. All right? Read children's books that show how children resolve problems. Okay, so stories are very important because the character there, the main character, usually, if you choose the right story, will exemplify good behavior in the story, especially when it's a heroic story. All right? Okay, so play what if games. Encourage children to act out ways to work together. Okay, so even chores can be fun, like the one in the picture there. They're cleaning and they're having fun at the same time. All right. So is apologizing important for children? Yes, it is. That's the beginnings of empathy. Okay. So how do we teach children to say sorry properly? Okay. So let's teach children how to apologize. How do we do that? Okay. So learning how to apologize is a skill. Young children have a hard time understanding another child's feelings. So by the time they are 4 years old, they should begin to recognize that apologizing is a good way to make up for hurting someone else. Okay, so that's how important apologies are. So let's look at the steps in teaching how a child should apologize. So these are 4 basic steps. Look at the other child. If you're the one who is at fault, say the child's name, say I'm sorry, and say why. Okay? So, 4 simple and basic steps in apologizing. Okay. So, how do we teach children to fix their mistakes? Of course, children will unavoidably make mistakes, but they have a chance to fix them. So, this is how we do that. Okay, if a child throws food onto the floor, give her a broom and show her how to clean it up, and then let the child do the rest. Okay, all right. So, what if a child draws on a wall? If a child does that, give him a wet cloth to clean the wall. Okay, so even if the child cannot successfully clean up the entire mess alone, participating in cleanup teaches him that his actions have consequences. Over time, experiencing consequences helps children learn self control because they know what will happen if they do this and do that. So maybe they will learn not to do that the next time. Okay, so that ends my lecture on behavior management for children. Thank you very much for watching.